Welcome, grade twos. We're going to continue our second lesson on time. Okay, so let's take a look at our clock today. And do you remember how we can tell the time for today? So the small hand is our hour. So when it points at the time, this means 2. So it's in the second hour. And our minute hand, we don't say 2-7. Do you remember? We start up here and we count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. So the time is 2:35. Now we can say this in words in different ways. We can say, because if we started up at 2 o'clock, we can say it is 35 minutes past 2, right? Because we started at 2, but it's not at 2 anymore. It is 35 minutes past 2. Okay. Now, the next time, if we get all the way around the top, it's going to be 3 o'clock. But we're not quite at 3 o'clock just yet. Okay, so we're at 2:35. Can you count how many minutes until it's 3 o'clock? We're starting here. Let's count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So in 25 minutes, it'll be 3 o'clock. So we can also say the time. 25 minutes to 3 o'clock. So with time, you can count on this side and say how many minutes past that hour. Or if you want to count to the next hour, you can count up to this side, up to the 12, to say how many hours and minutes until that hour, okay, that you can do. I will also say sometimes they can be, the minute hand could be in between. So it could be 35, 36, 37 minutes. But we usually round. We'll say it's 35 minutes, right? Or if it's a little bit closer, we'd say it's 40 minutes, okay? With time, we usually round to the biggest, we usually round to the nearest big number there on that clock, okay? Now, I also want to talk about time throughout the day. Because if you noticed, when we also write time, that we would write time with a little AM or a little PM beside it. So for example, we can have 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. Okay? Now what does that mean? A.m. means antemeridium, and that is from 12 at midnight until lunchtime. So all the hours, the 12 hours in there, between midnight when we're sleeping until lunchtime, we would write a.m. So what would be something we would do at 6 a.m.? We might be waking up. We might still be sleeping. 6 p.m., the p.m. stands for post-meridium. And that is from lunchtime until midnight when we're sleeping, those 12 hours. So at 6 p.m., what could we be doing? We might be eating supper. We might be starting to watch a movie. We might be riding our bikes outside. So we have a.m. It's from midnight till lunch, so in the morning or when we're sleeping, and p.m., which is from lunch until midnight when we're eating dinner or afternoon and going into having our sleep, okay? And other terms are like 12 at lunch, so 12 p.m. we call noon. Like when we eat lunch, we call that noon, okay? Just some different words that adults might use around time when we talk about it, okay? So we have our times there. And the other thing is in our textbook, so if you need to press pause and grab your textbook, you can do that, is on page 63, we have clocks in each box with a picture, okay? So there's clocks with a picture. And I want us to write the time and whether we would put AM or would we put PM after it. So let's look at the first one. What time is it? The minute hand, the long hand's at the 12, so I know it's o'clock. And the little hand is at the hour, 6. 6 o'clock. Now, let's look at the picture. Should we write 6 a.m. or should we write 6 p.m.? What's the boy doing in the picture? He's just waking up. He's in his pajamas. So I would say it is 6 a.m. for that one. Okay? Okay. Then you can go along to the next one. What time do we see this clock as? Oh, the long hand's not at the 12, so let's count. It's at the 1, so that's 5, right? Our first 5. And our small hand's at the hour 6, so it's 6:05. Do you remember how to write that? 6:05. Now, is it a.m. or p.m.? Well, it looks like he's still in his pajamas. What's he doing? He's brushing his teeth, so I'm going to say a.m. Okay? The next box. Who can tell me what time it is in the next box? Well, let's look at the little hand. It's just past the 6, so it's 6 something. Let's count the big hand. Let's count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, because it's at the 4. 20, so 6:20. Should we write a.m. or p.m.? Now he's eating, which could be morning or night, but what kind of things is he eating? Looks like a coffee and some eggs and toast. When do we usually eat that? In the morning. Now sometimes we can have those things for dinner because I've had them too. That's okay. Now let's look over here. What time do we have here? The little hand, it's not quite at the 7, so it must still be 6. But let's count the big hand. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. 6:45. Okay? Now, should we write a.m. or p.m.? Looks like he's waving goodbye to his mom. He's walking to school. So, when does he leave for school? In the morning. So, we want to write a.m. Okay.